Hello and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Addie and today we are back with speed build. Today we are building a a townhome style build for the two universities in Discover University. It is like kind of the middle of the season, and I feel like this is kind of like an odd time, but I kind of wanted to build this. I liked the concept of like a townhome that like two rivals can, like one side's Foxbury and the other one's Brightchester, and they sort of do not enjoy hanging out together, but they share a wall, so they kind of have to. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. And so I decided to put the Foxbury side on the right with the flat roof, and the Brightchester side on the left with the gabled roof. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun with this build. I felt like there weren't as many hobbies that I could fit on the Foxbury side, but that's okay. I feel like it worked out well enough. And then let's see. I was building this while I was kind of having a rough time. So, um, there you might see like a really extended pause for a minute. But that's just because I was busy, preoccupied a little bit. Um, but yeah, I feel like it turned out really well. I don't keep the greenstone on the Brightchester side, don't worry. In terms of gameplay, there's a couple ways that you could do this. You could have this as like a residential rental, and have just like some Sims on the other side, like have that be just like a normal house, and then pretend that they're all college students. And then have your Sim and some roommates on the other side. Um, or you could have it as a um university housing lot, which is what I uploaded it to the gallery as. I felt like that was probably a little bit better. Um, yeah, it's not as functional to what I want, but I felt like it's more useful in the game. So if you look on the gallery, you should be able to sort by university housing, and it'll come up. And then I really, really wish that we could put like walls and fences and stuff on the edge of lots, specifically fences, but walls would be really cool too. Um, on the edge, like the very edge of lots, because I feel like I don't know, I feel like it just makes the lot feel bigger and more full when you can do that. But here I am changing the wallpaper on the Brightchester side to white. I actually ended up really liking how this build came out. I feel like it was really cool. And just, I don't know, just like overall, not something that I necessarily would play in, but I really enjoyed playing with the concept of the build. And then obviously the Brightchester side has a lot of green accents, green columns from, I think I used the ones from Cottage Living, and then the um, Foxbury side has a lot of red accents. I used the newer base game columns. And then I also used a lot of businesses and hobbies. I feel like it worked really well in this build. So there is a lot of that in terms of like the floor and the walls and like the actual build itself. The individual um, like furnishings are not as like pack specific. I just kind of used whatever I felt looked good. And then I have on the others. So right now I'm just kind of working on the floor plan. It is a little bit hard to see because I yeah, I didn't put any lights or anything up there, but I felt like that was okay. I don't have any qualms with that. Um, so I have right now we are going through and putting in some windows, and then this is where I start using more businesses and hobbies. We have um, this window right here that I really, really like. I think it looks really cute. And then just like floors and walls and stuff. And then I'm not sure what I end up putting for walls on the inside. Like I don't know the name of the thing, but oh, I used this one. Okay. And then I was gonna use the red, but I felt like the red was kind of a lot, so I decided to go with pink for the, oh, maybe I didn't do pink. Okay, I did red. Never mind. I still feel like the red is a lot, but I broke it up with pink. So I did use pink, but I also used red. And now we're finally going in and putting lights in. I don't know why I build like that where I like put off putting lights in. Like I would make my life so much easier, but I just don't. So for that I apologize. And then I'm going through and putting in a bunch of accent walls, um, and just getting like the matching colors in the bathrooms. Some of the like I love this university door. I feel like it's really nice. Um, because there's like a peephole to it. So yeah, I felt like it was kind of nice. And more windows because I didn't do the upstairs. I always put um so I downstairs I initially put a door from the kitchen and then it was going to be like a shared one, but I decided to not do that and I decided to have one per unit just because I felt like it was probably a little better that way. I didn't have to cram as much stuff onto them. And then we are moving on to the living space of the Brightchester side. So the yellow and green side is for Brightchester, and um it's actually kind of nice. I don't know that it's my personal style, but I think that's okay considering that it's university housing. It's not like gonna be your style. Granted, in real life, it would probably wouldn't be like exclusively the school colors, but that's okay. We don't really have a. This is The Sims. We don't need to worry about real life all the time. Yeah. Um, I Yeah, so right now we are working on laying out the living room in the um so like you walk in and then there's a living room. So we are working on that right now. I temporarily contemplated a fireplace, but I felt like it just would not work in this space, so I decided not to do that, and instead there's just like a normal little table with the TV on there. I did want to include a TV in both of the spaces because I felt like it was helpful. Granted, they are kind of, well, this one's kind of cheap, but it is better than no TV. And then we do have a couple of skill building items. So we've got an easel because this is Brightchester. Lots of art majors, I presume, art and literature majors. And then I've got a chess table just because like it's helpful. And then we've got a piano. Um, and then I put some bookshelves over on the other side because I thought they would be helpful to have. And then I put the um where I put like some games on the like under the console table because that would be so fun if you could play board games with your roommate. Um so I put that in there. There's a bookshelf over by the front. Just because that's like good to have in The Sims. I feel like you kind of need a computer, you kind of need a TV, and you kind of need a bookshelf. Um, so I put that in there, and then I'm just trying to figure out like some more skill building stuff, just because like I think that it's helpful to have um some like I don't know, just like as many skill building items as you can when your Sims are in college. Um, and then you can kind of, I don't know, do I don't know. I just yeah, I think it's kind of nice to have. Um, and then the next thing that I am putting in here is a bunch of like artwork and like graffiti and stuff in my head. This was all approved by the school. So they had a bunch of like art majors come in and like paint the walls and stuff. But we don't really have like mural a lot of like cool mural type wallpapers. We have a couple, but usually they just alternate like two or three at a time and not necessarily I don't know, it's just not as interesting and they're usually kind of muted too and I don't know. I don't feel like I like them very much, so I don't use them at all. Um and then I have the kitchen, so they have bar height tables, which may not be super helpful, but that's okay. And then we move on to well, we come back to the living room for just a second before I think I go upstairs after this, but don't quote me. Another quirk about the um, what is it called? Another quirk about the university housing is that you can't have stoves. So how I've gotten around that is I put waffle makers and like a microwave and a refrigerator, um, and then just kind of And then like I don't think I put coffee, but I did put those other things. And then we do move upstairs, and up here is kind of tight, so I do end up getting rid of the woodworking table. And we just have the pottery up here, but I thought that would be kind of nice to have as like another skill building thing. We do have a lot of like crafting hobbies and skills. I feel like we don't have a lot of mental hobbies and skills. Um, like we don't have like we have puzzles, but we don't really have like a puzzle table. You know what I mean? Like we don't have, I don't know. When I was growing up, my grandparents always had like the puzzle table, and there was always a puzzle on it, and you could go over and kind of work on the puzzle as you wanted to. And I wish we had that in The Sims, like that I would class that as more of like a mental skill. Um, and then we don't have like, I don't know, we finally have a telescope, which is reasonable. So I put that in the other side, but I don't know, I just wish that we had more hobbies. Um, but it's The Sims, so we will not. Well, we will, but not the kind that I want. I want like a puzzle. Like, I don't want puzzles. I want like a puzzle table. Like you just like you can maybe it's like a collection. You can do like the same kinds of puzzles as are in growing together, but maybe just like your Sims don't have to sit down, and they can like, I don't know. Like it's not like I don't know. I also wish we had board games in this game, but we don't. We have puzzles. Don't wake the llama. I want like the game of life. Monopoly, you know? Except they could be like, maybe they're like named after like packs of The Sims, right? So instead of Monopoly, you could do like businesses and hobbies. Um, and then like instead of like the game of life, you could have like Sims Forever board game, or I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I'm like talking over all the bedrooms. Granted, they're not very interesting. So, um, but yeah, anyway, I kind of liked the bedrooms. They're really, really small, and that's part of the reason why I like them so much. Um, because they just have like no space for personal stuff, and that seems really fun to me. Maybe not in real life, but in The Sims, that's kind of fun. Um, yeah, so we are working on the balconies now. And we, on the upper one, I put woodworking, I think I put a telescope, and then also some gardening pots because those are helpful. Um, and then I put on the lower side, this is when I decided to make it into like the Foxberry one, instead of both of them. Um, and I put like archaeology, I ended up putting like, I think I put another telescope. I think I put a chess table out there. So it's got quite a few things in there um, that are definitely useful things to have. Um, and we are moving on into the living room of the Foxberry side. So that red side finally is starting to get furnished. Um, and I don't know. I feel like this is definitely not my favorite thing that I've ever done. It's not bad, but I wouldn't say that it's like the greatest. Um, so yeah, I think it's like fine. Um, and then I put kind of a fancy TV, but I felt like because it's Foxbury and it's like the I was gonna say the technology school, but that's not what that is. The like the technology school and like for physics and stuff. I felt like they should have a fancier TV. I feel like the other school probably just put a TV in there because it's 2025 and they probably felt like they had to. Um, but Foxbury put it in there because they were like, yeah, well, I mean, like we're like the technology school. Like we have to have technology in our thing. We're not. I probably could have put like made more room for what's the word? For like like a community computer and stuff, but I didn't think of it. I was trying to think of more like hands-on skills, because it's just not, I don't know. I guess I could have also put like stuff from the scientist career from Get to Work. Um, but I did not think of that until just now. Um, we are moving on to the kitchen now. The kitchen is actually kind of fun. Um, it's definitely um very similar to the other kitchen, just not an L. And then I put a mini fridge instead of a regular sized fridge. And that's pretty much like the only difference. Um, I do end up putting like a couple of tables. I feel like the tables kind of help the space more. And then I also decided to put a buffet table. Their kitchen is a little bit simpler just because they are not like the culinary school. So I imagine that there's like the one culinary major who didn't get into Brightchester and they make all the food. So there's just like a buffet table over there. Um, and they so that's just how everybody eats is like that one front that makes all the food. And then there's a mirror. I am moving up here to the other side now, and this I did put a robotics table in here, or a robotics station in here because I feel like you can't have a Foxbury one without having the robotics table at some point. So I did decide to go ahead and do that. And then this room has like a lot of like school pride kind of vibe going on to it. So I have like the school pride like bedspreads on there. Um, but it doesn't have like a lot going on up here. I do not remember what I put up. Oh, I put a gemology table up here. Because that felt kind of sciencey. So, like, like, because like geology, you know, it's like rocks but sparkly. So that was kind of my thought process there. And then I spent way too much time trying to figure out what else to put up here. Because like pottery is kind of along those same lines of like dirt. Um, but like ceramics. But it just felt too crafty. Um, so I put a bonsai tree, because like botany and like plants and stuff. Um, and then I put that in the corner. And then I don't remember what I end up putting on the other side. Um, Part of me wants to say that it's like I don't know. Part of me wants to say that it's like, oh, I put a floral arranging table, flower arranging table, floral arranging table. Okay, flower arranging table. That makes a lot of sense actually. And it fits, so that's good. Because I remember I tried something and it like did not fit very much, but I don't remember what that is. Um, and then just finishing up the other rooms. Um, there's a lot of pride flags going on in here. That's something that I really like including in my builds, so I put that in there. Um, and then um, we've got a couple of beds in this room. Again, they're all very, very tight in here. Um, but I've got like a sim that's like kind of crafty in their spare time. I believe in this room, and then the other sim is more sporty, and they've got like sports on the floor, and then they have like a mini fridge. I didn't put mini fridges in any of the other rooms, so this room definitely has a leg up on that in that regard. Um, and then some like decorative dirty dishes and stuff in there. Um, but yeah, and then just finishing up the last bathroom before we head outside. Outside, I just put some plants, I think. I just do like landscaping, and then I have like a little side garden. Um, so it's fairly simple out here. I do think I put a table, so if your Sims wanted to eat outside, they could. Um, but on that note, oh, and then I was going through and putting in some like gym equipment because that could be helpful. Um, but yeah, on that note, we are coming to the end of the video now. So if you liked it, if you would like and subscribe, that would really mean a lot. And I will see all of you next time. Bye now.